Hello everyone, you are most welcome to my channel. Today we shall be going back to our to-do tutorial which we started some time back, and this is the second video in the series. So let's get started. So we are building a Django to-do list, and we shall be using actually MongoDB instead of the default SQLite. So my name is Ronia Taire, aka AfroBoyDex, and I'm glad that you chose this particular video. So to get started, I assume that you followed the first video that is in this series. Please, if you haven't done that yet, please go back, because there's a lot of installations that is going on there. So today we shall start by checking actually if we actually have Django installed. To check that you have Django installed, you can just simply say Django admin dash version. So I have 4.0 installed currently as the time of recording this video. I don't know what's yours. And actually there's another way, since Django is a Python module. Actually, let me first change this color. I feel like this color is not user friendly. Let me do a B. Sorry, let me do a B here. Let me see if we go to F. Okay, let's go with the F. So I was telling you there's another way of doing this. Basically you can do Py, meaning Python. You can actually type it as Python, so I'm going to use Py. Then M, which symbolizes module, where our module is called Django. You can use this to check any version of the module that you have. So when you press enter, it tells that we actually have 4.0 installed. So I'll clear again my screen. So we're going to start. There are actually useful commands that you use to run. For example, if I type it in Django, it will bring in an error, so that means it's not recognized. But if I typed in something like Django admin, you see what it brings us? It brings us available subcommands: check, compile messages, create, db, df, dump, flash, inspect, test server, start project. Our main goal, or what we shall be using majorly here, shall be using actually make migrations, migrate, run server, show migrations, start up, start project. This is where we are starting a fresh new brand project. So we shall be using start project and the available commands. So let me clear the screen again. So to create a project, let me first cd into my project folder. I want it to be under Django, then under YouTube. So let's get started. I'm not going to use virtual environments. If you want, you can, but creating a virtual environment is very easy in Windows. You simply let's say we're going to use virtual environment, and you can just call this Django to do. You can just call this Django to do. Then we press sorry about that, it's actually, yes, there's missing something here, which is remember I said every time you're calling a module, you just have to put that at -m. So when you press enter, this virtual environment module will create for us a Django to do virtual environment using Vim or virtual environment. So it's actually taking long here. It's creating one. So I'll give it time. It should be able to come now. So let's check what's under here. You can see that it has created it. So to activate this, actually you just simply call the name in Windows. I'm assuming that you have Windows. This could be different with Mac or Linux. It's actually different. So you just call the name, then you call scripts, then activate. So as you can see, it's activated. Don't be confused by these symbols here. This is basically a backslash. Yes, it's a backslash. No, it's a forward slash. Yes. So that's it basically. But as I said, I want to be using a virtual environment. So in here now you can actually install Django. You can install what dependencies what you're going to be using. But because I already installed everything in the first video, and actually in the Windows variables environment, so I'm not going to use anything like virtual environment. So to deactivate this, I just simply have to say deactivate. So if I run DR again, it will show me that actually I have these files. Let me first clear the screen. So if I run it again, you see that I have these files which have been created. So if I go to my project folder, which is Django to do, you can see that actually I have this virtual environment created that has all these. So what we need to do now, I think since I'm not going to use this, I'm going to delete it. So after deleting it, so I have a fresh new. So if I say DR again, yeah, actually yes, it shows that there's actually nothing in here. Or you could have just said rm, I think, dir, then you remove the directory. Sometimes empty directories may not go away. I have a tutorial about command lines in Windows. Please check it out. I'll leave a description I'll leave the link in the description. So let's get started with Django. So to create a new project, just say the Django admin start project. So we're going to create a to-do list. We're going to to do app. I'm going to call it to do. Let me just call it to do. Let me just say to do. So our Django admin start project is to do. So I press enter. So if I do dir, it shows me that actually to do has been created. If I see D into to do, and then I do dir again, it will show me the files that actually have been created. So if I first clear the screen and I do dir again, it will show me the files that have been created. That's manage.py and to do. So if I go back to my actual file where it is, you will see that to do has been created and has manage.py and to do. Under to do, we have these different files. I'm going to explain them shortly. Then manage.py is actually a command line utility that we shall use most of the times to run our. It's a command line utility that we shall use most of the times to do our stuff. For example, like running server, doing stuff. We shall be using this manage.py file. So if I go back to my command line and I type in a command tree, if I type in tree, actually it shows me there's nothing here, because it actually shows me that there's only to do here. But if I see D into to do again, or actually let me first do dir. So we have manage.py. So I've already explained what manage.py is. So as you can see, manage.py is the same folder, is the same level with the to do folder, which is an app folder. So I will explain this. So init.py, as you can see, I've clicked on it and it's an empty file. Init.py is basically an empty file, and its function is to tell Python interpreter that this directory is a package, and involvement of this init.py. Whenever you're naming your files and you name them like this, just telling the interpreter that this is a package. So you can put stuff here, or you can choose to leave it empty. So by default, Django, the current Django project structure, leaves this as default. Then if you go to SGI, what SGI does basically, it is it's a synchronous gateway interface. So what do I mean by this? It works similar way to WS. Then the settings.py, if I click on settings.py, as you can see, it has different things here in here.
So the settings.py basically it contains Django project configuration. So what do I mean by configuration? It has it's actually the most important file, and it is used for adding all applications, middleware applications, and it's the main setting for the Django project. It's like the root, like the core setting up for configurations for our project. It actually contains different variables. These are actually variables if you've done some Python basics, and as you can see by default it's doing this, it's importing. You can look through all these ones, and I won't explain much of these, but as you can see, databases here we have SQLite being used as the default, password validators, language by default is in English US, the time zone, the static URL to server static files. If you actually come back up, these are templates to be used whenever you're creating whenever you're using the folders. And then this is like the URL configuration. So that's it basically for the settings files. Then the URLs files. The URL file is basically a universal resource locator file, and contains all the endpoints that we should have for our website or our project. It is used to provide you the address of the resources. So those are like images, the web pages, the websites, basically a routing. So it tells Django that if a user comes with this URL, direct them maybe to a particular website or image or whatsoever that you're looking at. I already called this simply, but it's basically WSGI, as I said, it's being phased out, but it's still actually in the project folder. Actually, people still use it, and is when you host your application, you'll be using a Django web server, and this will take care of it. It stands for web server gateway interface, and it describes the way how servers interact with applications. It's very easy actually compared, I think, to SGI. Then you just have to import the middleware according to the server you want to use. For every server, there's a Django middleware available that solves all the integration and the connectivity issues. So maybe you want to deploy your Django application somewhere. We shall see this at the end of this tutorial or at the end of this series. So now to create actually our real app where we shall be having our files, our project files, we shall use PyManage. Just have to say PyManage.py. Make sure that you are running this where manage.py is, and just say, let me first do help. So under help, you see the available subcommands. So the available subcommands are run server, collect static, start project, we have start app. Those are the available subcommands under PyManage. So that means you can actually even create super user, change password. This is for authentication. Remove stable content types. Then under Django, these are things you can also do. So what we need actually is starting our app. So I just have to remove this and say start app. I'm going to call my app. You can call it anything. So I'm going to say this is now a real app where it is. So I'm going to say start app. So if I did dir, it should be here. And if I do tree, as you can see, I have app. Then I also under app have migrations. I have this. So basically, this is where a real application is happening. Our files are how it should be. So let me go down, break it down also, and explain the files there. So if I cd into app and then I do dir, I find admin.py. So I'm going to start explaining all these files right away. So what does admin.py do? So as you can see, we have admin.py, we have apps.py. Now just don't confuse this with app.py. Then we have migrations. Migrations already explained what migrations are. Models, tests, views. So if I actually first check them out here, I go to app. As you can see, these are the files we have. If I actually even go to
if I go to VS Code, I click on app. So this is it. So your project folder should be looking like this. Should be something like this. It should be under YouTube, then under YouTube, then under to do, because this is actually, if you remember, it's the virtual environment created. It's just a virtual environment folder. Then under to do, we have actually I can delete this not to be confused. So this is now your project folder structure. It should be under now to do. You have app and to do. This is our initial, as I told you, this is like an initial that contains all our settings and everything for the project folder, as explained them already. Then this is our app actually, which shall contain our real files. So under to do, we have these two folders, subfolders. So then under app, we have these ones, which we have another folder which has migrations, which has init.py. So under there we also have these in the same folder of app. Then under to do, we have these folders. So some files will look the same, but just need to not to be confused that this to do actually it has the same name as this. That's why maybe you can easily define that actually this to do is a project to do settings or application settings. So then this is our DB SQLite, then this is our manage.py. That's it basically. So I go back to app.py and explain what exactly app.py is and all these ones that we have here. So what admin.py is, if I go back to app.py and I start with I already explained the init.py. So admin.py, this actually provides the same it provides a functionality of registering Django models into Django administration. So there's a route called admin. If you just go to if you're still having your server running, you just do / then admin. You can see that there's actually a route called admin that has already the administration backend running, and it's actually a panel. It's an admin panel, and that panel, an admin can perform majorly 3 tasks, and that is registering models, creating super users, logging in, and using the web application. So we shall learn more when we are using the admin panel. Then we have the apps.py. Apps.py is a file that is used to help the user include the application configuration for their app. Now this is now app folder, where the configurations could be attributes which are, but usually rarely use this one, though it's though as you can see the name is automatically brought in here, the name of the app. So basically that's it, but you rarely use this. So and then under models represents the models of the web application, the form of classes. You want to use maybe class models. It is considered the most actually important aspect of the project file structure. Models define the structure of the database. How the database looks like. It tells actually about the actual design, the relationship between the data sets, and then the attribute constraints. Then the tests.py, basically I think that for tests, yes, you write test code for the web applications. This is for testing the working of the application. Then as you can see here, actually I don't have urls.py, but you shall create this one here, a file called urls.py. I think by default Django 4.0 no longer includes it. Not sure if the previous versions were including them, but if you go to do, you can find that there's actually a urls file there. But in the app folder, which we've just started the real application, we don't have a urls folder. But the urls file, we shall create it somewhere. It will work the same way as the urls.py in the project file structure, but the primary aim being linking the user's URL request to the corresponding pages it's pointing to. We shall see this in action. So you won't find this, and actually these days I think it's, I don't know,
but by clicking on a new file you can always create one. I think that's then the views maybe lastly. The views basically are how your application actually looks like. I don't know if you get that. It's basically most important file, the app structure. It's basically the interface, how the user interacts with the Django application. It contains most times views in form of classes. So we use this the concept of serializers in Django REST framework for making different types of views. Some of these are maybe custom filter views, class-based list views, and detailed views, something like that. It's basically an interaction of the web application or maybe of the Django application. So as you can see, Django takes care almost of everything in the back end. So you just have to focus on writing a few lines of code and then you're ready to go. So that's it. And that's it. Basically, I've explained all the project folders, and maybe what we can do now, we can just test to see. If we actually have our project running very well. So I can go back to command line, first clear the screen again. So first make sure that I'm in the folder where manage.py is, so there's no manage.py here, so I just have to see debug. So I list again and I see manage.py. So I first clear my screen again, so I just say py manage.py. So it just trying to run a server now locally to see what is actually we see if we have success. So just say run server, and yes, that's it, run server. So if I click enter, you can see watching for file changes. We start reloader, then zero silence. So as you can see, it has been created by default. Is usually on port 8000 on localhost. So that means I have something else running here, so it's giving me a 1 here. So you just have to copy this and paste it on your browser. You just have to copy this and paste it in your browser, and hit enter. Yes, so the install worked successfully. Cons, if you actually reach this page, yours actually here could be you can also do localhost. If you did localhost, it should be able to bring the same thing. Yes, yeah, if you did localhost, you should be able to bring the same thing on port 8000. So that's it basically for this video, and in the next video I'm going to be taking you through, maybe before I sign out, let me take you through the most common commands we shall be using. If to stop the server, yes, on Windows I have to press Control C. Basically, that's it. Control C. If that doesn't work, you just have to do Control FN, which is function, Control function C. Either way, it depends the version of Windows you're using, but Control C most of the time should be able to get you going. And yeah, that's it for now. Next video we shall start the real work of coding, and we see how we can actually change even this default page to represent the how to do application. So thank you so much for coming to this video. Please stay tuned, hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell for not to miss out the next tutorial in this series. Thank you, have a great one.